Like I would say creativity, probably the most important part to me, or the most important part of the creative process to me, is being comfortable, getting rid of that anxiety. And I think that's where like the creative process like comes from. I feel like, at least for me anyways, like I have to be extremely comfortable. Like I have to be, in like, some of the best moods I'm in, or like, some of the most excitable states ever. Like for me to, just be bursting, you know what I mean, with ideas. So in that sense, I think, at least, and like Luke says, I do write. So like, I write blogs. Like a lot of the stuff is just crazy ideas that I just write down so I don't lose it, and I like stick it somewhere, either it be a blog or post it, that kind of thing. And I think for those, they always come in comfortable moments. And I think one big thing is you can't be afraid to like, follow an idea. Like you can't be afraid to like, follow the trend of a thought and see where it leads you to. Because if it's a bad idea, it's gonna, at the end of it, it's gonna be horrible. You're gonna know, like you know what I mean? Like, or sometimes before you even go forward with it, like the first few people will tell you, or you tell, will look at you like, buddy, maybe you might want to slow down. So like, but that's you seeing the idea to something, like even telling other people about it. Like, that's you at least not killing it in your head.
I think one of the things that I try to remind myself a lot of is when it comes to the creative fields, it's not about a right or wrong answer. It's about fit. There's no best food. There's no worst food. There's only food that specific people like. And I try to keep that really like deep into my mind. Like if someone doesn't like the food I cook, I'm not going to take that as I'm a horrible cook. I'm going to take that as I didn't think about the right dish to make for this specific person, and I can take this feedback and improve on it. So I think that's one of the things I want to talk about in terms of comfort and my specific creative process. Another thing I want to touch upon specifically is, when I was growing up, I drew a lot, and originally, actually, I wanted to be an architect. Like I was very, very heavy into the
Hey,
visual arts, especially in high school. One of the things I was always really and I'm gonna use this word, and I don't use this word often, but I was very ashamed of was I always felt like I was a fraud. Like because a lot of the art I created from a visual perspective, it came from other art. It came from other inspiration. And I thought, wow, like you're such a piece of shit. Like you're so uncreative. Like this is not your idea. And it took me a very long time to just realize literally every single amazing creative, that idea starts from something that exists already.
mhm.
Ultimately, art is made for humans. It's made for humans to consume. And a lot of that inspiration comes from things that exist in the world. So I just wanted to touch upon those two things specifically in my creative process. Number one, if you don't make something that people like, it's just maybe because you're not making it for the right people. And number two, don't be ashamed of what you make just because you get inspiration from things that already exist. That's perfectly fine. And you're going to need to copy things that are amazing to eventually find your own style and improve on it.
Every single thing that we are, everything about us, everything that we are, everything that we create, everything that we put out for the world to see is a collection and a product of every single experience we've ever had. And I was having this debate with myself internally, right? I was like, if that's the case, is originality then just a fallacy? Does it, like, at its very core, the intrinsic value of what originality is that just dead? Because if you go through that logic, it kind of is. But we kind of have to put ourselves beyond that and understand what originality is and what inspiration is, and the fact that all your experiences shape a unique product. And that is what the originality is, not the fact that it came from some nowhere place. Nobody comes up with ideas out of thin air. It comes from somewhere.
A lot of great things come from blank canvases. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, because it really sets you into that moment, like you're present in that time when if you haven't had a lot of time to prepare, or you're not being super calculated with everything that you're doing. And that's kind of that creative process I take when I write songs. Back then, like in first year, second year, when I first started writing music, I try to calculate everything. Like, what could be the best lyrics to put here? How can I make these things rhyme? How can I make this sound perfect? Now the creative process is literally I go into a studio, or I just go anywhere really. It doesn't even have to be a studio. Someone plays a beat, and we just go at it. it doesn't matter. It's just exactly what I'm thinking in that moment, inside my mind, what feelings I'm feeling, what emotions are there. And we just get it all out and we record it. We don't write anything down. We just record the session, so that later on we take bits and pieces of that session, and we put it into a song. And that's literally how the past like 5 or 6 songs I've done have been like. It's just been that process. There's no more sitting down, thinking and writing, because I found that when I sat down and I wrote, it became too perfect. It became like, everything fit together perfectly. There was a cadence for every single line. And I was like, I don't
It
want that.
became
I
a
want
job.
something. Well, yeah. And it became, you could see patterns in it. It was like, oh, I know this guy wrote this line and he wrote this rhyme because it fits perfectly with the line before. But, a lot of music isn't like that. And things that stand out follow the norm, right? So, yeah, like the process now is really just I go at it, and whatever happens, any melody ideas that are really that stand out, or any lyrics or any flows that come out that are nice, I just kind of pick at it and I'm like, I want to keep this, and then we put it all together and it becomes a song. So it's definitely less. There's less thought put into it, but there is more emotion coming out of it, and I can hear it in the recordings, because in the old music I used to make, it sounded kind of bland, and in the new music that I do now, it's very raw and emotion. Like you hear the raw emotions behind the lyrics and behind anything that I say or I sing. So it's definitely a bit of a different process, but I don't know, kind of like it because it's very authentic.